I hope you understood whole chapter, and if you have any doubt you can ask me personally on my WhatsApp. So today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter number 10 from your textbook, which is gravitation. So gravitation, you all are quite aware of this word, and you all know what does this mean, gravitation, and I hope all of you also knows that gravitation was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton, and you all know that falling of apple story, that Isaac Newton was sitting under a tree of apple and an apple fall on his head from the tree, and he thought that why does apple falls always downwards and never upwards, and he invented gravitation. He also gave some universal law of gravitation. So everything which happened, this apple story and Isaac Newton, it happened in 17th century. So it is almost 300 years from now. It happened 300 years ago, more than 300 years ago, because Isaac Newton was born in 1642 and died in 1727. So in between this he gave many such physical laws, like the laws which we have learned, laws of motion, first, second and third, all of them are given by Isaac Newton. Also this gravitation, he was not the only one who was thinking about gravitation. There were many, like in last chapter we talked about Galileo Galilei, who was also working on the laws of motion, or who was also trying to describe causes and other factors of motion. But Isaac Newton, he studied all these theories of Galileo Galilei. Another scientist was Kepler, and he invented a new mathematic, you can say a whole new branch of mathematics, which was calculus, like trigonometry, geometry, algebra. Calculus is also a part of mathematics. So he invented many such few things, and he was considered as most original scientist. So we will study about gravitation and these laws of gravitation and other things regarding gravitation in this chapter. So in chapter number 8 and 9, that is motion and force and laws of motion, we have learned that motion of object and force as the cause of motion. In 8th chapter we have studied motion of object. In chapter 9 we have studied force, that is the cause of motion. We studied that every motion is result of any unbalanced external force. So force is needed to change the speed or direction of motion of an object. But we have always observed that any object which is, there is an object which is dropped from a height, falls on the earth or falls towards the earth. We also know that every planet, if this is the sun, every planet moves around the sun in their own orbits like this. We know this solar system, and we also know that moon which orbits around our earth. So these are all motions because they are continuously moving. So there will be some force in this motion, because in chapter 9 we have studied that force is the cause of motion. So Isaac Newton could grasp, or he concluded, that same force is responsible for this object who is falling towards the earth, for these planets who are circulating around the sun, or the moon which is orbiting around our earth. He concluded that these all force are same and named it as gravitational force. So it is gravitational force which is responsible for this object falling, for this solar system in which planet goes around the sun, or for this moon which goes around our earth. So this is gravitational force, and in this chapter we shall learn about gravitational universal law of gravitation, also discuss motion under influence of gravitational force, that is free fall. We will learn about this, that when an object is dropped from a height, it's a free fall, and how does this motion occurs, or what is the magnitude of this motion. We will also study that how weight of a body, if we weigh around 60 or 50 kg on earth, we will weigh different in different planets. And we will also discuss the condition of objects to float in liquids. We know that in any kind of water bodies, if it is sea or pond or lake, some objects float in liquid. They do not drown into the liquids, although there is a gravitation force. So let's start this chapter. So we know that moon goes around the sun. If this is the earth, this is the moon, he goes around the earth in its orbit. So when apple fell on Newton when he was sitting under a tree, he felt that why does apple falls downwards and not upwards, and if earth can attract an apple which is too small, does earth can attract moon also? So he says that when moon goes around this orbit, at every point, if these are the point, at every point moon falls towards the earth, because if it is the motion of the moon, it will go in a straight line like this and not towards the earth. So he concluded that moon falls towards the earth at every point, and he conjectured that the same type of force is responsible for apple falling on earth and moon falling towards the earth. So it must be attracted by earth. So we will study this by an old activity which we have studied in uniform circular motion in chapter number 8, that if there is a boy who holds a thread, at the end of thread there is a stone, and the boy keeps moving this thread in this circular way. So when the stone is moving in this circular orbit, there is a force which is derived from this point, because the boy standing here, he is holding this thread at this point. So this is the center of force which makes this stone falls inside, or which makes this stone goes around in this orbit only and not straight. So this force is called as centripetal force, because centripetal means center seeking, means this force is deriving from this center. So the force that causes this acceleration and keeps the body moving along the circular path is acting towards the center. So this force is called as centripetal force. If this force is absent, the stone will flies off in the direction from which it is released. If this boy releases this thread, the centripetal force is no more, so the stone will fly off in straight line, and this straight line will be a tangent to the circle. Now what is the tangent? You know that any straight line which will pass a circle will join this circle at only one point. So this line which is passing by a circle and connects the circle at only one point is called as tangent. So the motion of this moon around this earth is also due to this centripetal force. So this centripetal force is provided by force of attraction of earth. If there is no such force, this moon will go in the straight line. Now you studied third law of motion in last chapter, which says that every action has equal and opposite reaction. Means if there is a force acting of earth on the moon, there will also be a force of moon which is acting back on the earth. Or likewise, let us say that there is an apple which is attracted by earth, there will be also a force of apple which will attract this earth. So why we never see earth moving towards the apple? Because mass of this apple is negligible when compared to our earth, because we know that earth is too heavy when we talk about its mass, and apple is too light in compared to earth. That's why we never see earth attracting towards an apple. In our solar system also, planets go around the sun, and there is a force exists in sun which keeps planets moving. So Isaac Newton said that not only apple is attracted towards earth and earth is attracted towards apple, but all the objects in the universe attract each other. Every object in our universe attracts each other. This force of attraction between objects is called gravitational force. So this is gravitational force. Every object on this universe attracts each other with gravitational force. So now we will study universal law of gravitation. Universal law of gravitation says that every object in the universe attracts every other object, like Newton said, with a force that is directly proportional to product of their masses. If say there are two objects like these, object A and object B, which are having mass m, capital and small m. These are the masses of these two objects, and there will be a force between these two objects from this center of their density. There will be a force from both the sides, but universal law of gravitation says that this force which is acting between these two objects will be directly proportional to product of their masses. Product means we will multiply the mass of these two objects, that is capital M and small m. So force is directly proportional to their product of masses, means if these two objects have very higher mass, the force of attraction between them will also be higher, means if their product of masses increases, force will also increases. And also this force is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. If you say these two objects having small d distance between them, small d is the distance between these two objects, so force will be inversely proportional to this distance or square of distance, means as this distance increases, the force will decreases. So universal law of gravitation means every object in the universe attract every other object with a force which is proportional to product of their masses and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. So this is the universal law of gravitation. Let us study mathematically. So first we are said in universal law that force is directly proportional to product of their masses. And now we concluded that mass of this object is capital M and B object is small m. So this is the first formula we get here, and we are also said that force is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. So here small d is the distance, so force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. Now if we combine these two equations, we will get that F proportional to capital M into small m upon d square. So this way it is directly proportional to product of masses and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. Or if we want to remove this proportional sign and put a equal sign, we will have to add a proportionality constant. So here it will be gravitational force. So F is equal to gravitation capital M into small m upon d square. This is the equation where G is the constant of proportionality and is called as universal constant of gravity. So G means universal constant of gravity, and by this formula only we can also write it like, if we multiply crosswise and put distance in other side of the equal, we will get that force into distance square is equal to universal constant of gravity into product of their masses. Here also G is the universal constant of gravity. Now if we want to find the value of this universal constant of gravity, so by the previous formula we can also write it like this, that universal constant of gravity is equal to force into square of distance upon product of their masses. And if universal constant of gravity is this, the SI unit of this universal constant of gravity will be, because here force is there, so it will be Newton. Distance is also there, so it will be meter square, and two kinds of masses is also there which are present below this sign, so it will be inversely square. So this is the SI unit of universal constant of G, that is gravity. SI unit is Newton per meter square per kg inverse square, and the value of this universal constant, which was found out by a scientist, not Isaac Newton, but it was Henry Cavendish. So Henry Cavendish, who lived after Newton, that is 1731 to 1810, he found this value of G using a sensitive balance, and everyone accepted this value of G as 6.673 into 10 raised to the power minus 11, and the SI unit is Newton per meter square per kg inverse square. So this is the force of gravitation on our planet. You don't have to calculate this value, but you have to remember this value always, because every sum in this chapter will require this value. But whenever the question will be asked, the value of this G will be given in the question. So now we know that there exists a force of attraction between any two objects, and we can compute the value of this force by these formulas of universal law of gravitation. So this is universal law of gravitation. In next lecture we will continue this chapter, and we will study the importance of this universal law of gravitation. Thank you, students.